Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how to make a herringbone butt spider. Now here I'm using one of my own lampwork glass beads, but you could use any bead that you like. Here are some cute ones from Potomac Beads. And the only thing that you'll want to watch out for is to make sure that you can fit like 4 lengths of whatever wire that you're using through the hole of the bead. So this one here has about a 2 or 3 millimeter hole, and I find that absolutely ideal for whenever I am using 22 gauge wire. Now you could use a 24 gauge or even thinner than that if you like, but the thinner your wire, the less robust your little spidey legs are going to be. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm going to pull off a full arm span of our 22 gauge wire, and here I am using vintage bronze, but you could use whatever color that you like. And I'm going to bring the ends together. All of the tools and materials, by the way, will be listed down in the video description. So I've brought the 2 ends of my wire together so that I can find the center, and that will be our bail. I'm going to come off-cent just a little bit, and I'm using the 6 millimeter mandrel of my mandrel pliers. And I just do 3 wraps. You could do 2 if you like, but I like 3. It seemed a nice round number. And now I'm just going to take it and twist once, twice, and thrice. Now the length that I'm giving myself here will be what we end up covering up with the herringbone wrap. So if you wanted more herringbone, like of that design around the booty of your bead, make it just a little longer. But I do recommend starting with 2 or 3, and that lets you get 2 full rotations of the herringbone wrap. And so now I'm just going to thread one end of the wire through my bead. And I'm going to position it kind of like, I don't want to push it up all the way and bend it because I want the wire to be protruding about the center of my bead whenever, like, kind of like that. There we go. Now we do have more of these beads for sale on our website, backtoearthcreations.com, but like I had said, you could use whatever beads that you like. This way you get to use some of our works of art in your works of art. So this is a little pumpkin. And we actually demonstrate making the beads every Saturday from noon to 6 p.m. over on Kik, K-I-C-K. There'll be links to that down below, but that's just if you're interested in like hanging out live and stuff. But then we also sell the completed spiders on our website also. So now we have the wires. They came through, crossed like that. This one came in and exits this side. This one comes around and exits that side. And so I'm just bringing them around front, opposite of where our bail is. And I'm going to come down just a little bit more. I like these fluted beads for this because it gives us kind of little segments for the wire to hold on to. And I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. Little twists like that. And now I'm going to be taking my 8 millimeter barrel of my mandrel pliers, and I'm just going to wrap around, and then I remove it so that the other half of the pliers isn't in the way. And I've just wrapped 2 loops. You could use a knitting needle, you could use a pen, whatever you like, but I am going to be using a 4 millimeter bead for like kind of the little decorative head bead right there, though a 6 millimeter works really well with the same 8 millimeter loop. And so I'm going to hold those between my fingers, and I'm just going to sew through here, pulling around. I like to use my fingernail to kind of press it in, but you don't have to. You could use your pliers or something as well. And just kind of whip stitch sewing that through. And now something that I really enjoy is having, this is a piece of work hardened, like I stiffened it up with my nylon jaw pliers off of the spool and then snipped with my wire cutters 25 millimeters because that's the length I like for my spider legs. You can experiment and find out for yourself what length you prefer, but this is much less cumbersome for me than fooling about with trying to line a ruler up. So I just line up the edge of my pliers and do that bend. I just let that fall to the table. And then I'm going to sew the wire through. So each leg has 2 lengths. If you're using a very thin wire, like I bet we could make some spiders out of like 28 gauge even, but maybe instead of just doing 1 fold over of the leg, you could do like 2 or 3 even, and then twist them together to make the legs be thicker. If there is a crafter, there is a way. So don't feel like that just because I or someone else doing a tutorial is doing it a particular way, that is the only way. That is not the case. This is just a way. And then we're gonna bring that in, grip it, and bend. And then I like to hold my thumb in there to just keep the spider leg. Sometimes if I don't do that and I pull, it pulls the whole leg in, whereas if I get it to resist at the tip of like the foot, I have a little easier time sometimes. And then just bending that around. I do like to do in between each leg, I like to do one more little wrap. That way it cinches everything down. And this is not particularly tidy. You can have it be however tidy as you like. If you're having trouble with distortion of your center loop, you could do 2 loops on each side so that there's 4 pieces of wire being wrapped around there. Though also, whenever it's all said and done, you could also just use the tip of a knitting needle to recircle out our little loop here. So we're gonna do another. And I'm going to show you this 1/2, and then I'm going to do the other half off camera, just for expediencies, just for being faster. Though we do have a full-length, in-depth tutorial of a more complex design, very similar to this one here, where we show every single step as well as making the base spider, which is very similar to this one. So if this has only whetted your appetite without bedding it back down, then be sure to check out our other tutorials. We have over, gosh, I think we have over 800 or 900 free tutorials here on our YouTube channel on a variety of different subjects, from wire working, or wire wrapping, lamp working, polymer clay, chainmail, leather, sculpting, just, I mean, anything I can get my hands on, really. And hopefully those videos will be helpful to you. If you ever have any questions or anything like that, you can send us an email to backtoearthcreations@yahoo.com, or you can leave a comment down below. And we try to keep up with answering comments and stuff, but also it helps. I only know the few things that I know, and the depth of my ignorance is astounding. But it's fantastic to get to see y'all answering each other's questions and having ideas and stuff together down in the comment area. So I want to thank everybody who has helped us to build such a beautiful community over the years. Okay, so we have our 4 spider legs on this side, and I'm going to come in, and we are going to make the peripeties, the little like mouth parts, kind of. And I like to use, my flat nose pliers are about 4 millimeters wide, so I come about 6 millimeters from where the wire exits the loop, and then I'm going to do that bend, and I treat it like it's just another leg. And I'm just going to thread through right here, and then let's do that lockdown wrap, just pulling through and twisting. There we go. And now I'm going to repeat this exact same thing on the other side, and I'll meet you guys right back here. Alrighty, so now we have the spider's legs on both sides and his little peripeties. And so now I only do 1 wrap on each side until I get to this point. That way I don't build one side too far and then not have enough room for the other side. So now I'm going to come through here, and I am just going to thread through the middle. Here's one side, and then here's the other. Now also, if you're watching this on a mobile device, I think you can like take the screen and like zoom in and stuff. And I try to not wander out of frame, but sometimes I do. Well, most of the time I do. And so that's why I'm kind of zoomed out on this one, is hopefully I'll still be in frame. So we're gonna, I guess, do a total of 3 wraps on each side in the center. And you could use your own, your own discretion if you wanted to do more wraps on this side and fewer in between, but I kind of like a wide set parapet as opposed to very narrow set. But that's, again, that's my preference. So I'm just going to bring this one through. And now we've done 3 on each side, and I think that's how I'm going to leave it. So I am going to take my 4mm bead. Actually, my favorites to use are a 6x4mm, but that's just me. And so I'm going to thread that onto our bead, or thread our bead onto the wire. And you'll notice it exited this side and then went back in and down. And then that's the wire we're talking about here. And I'm going to have it cross over to the right because it was from the left side of the spider. And so for this one here, I'm going to have it just travel underneath, and I want both of my wires to just sit very happy next to each other right here. And I'm going to bend that and twist it once and twice around that connection wire there. And then I'm going to wrap, being very careful to not twist the wires. I like to wrap them both at the same time, and you could do any sort of variation on this. It's just a herringbone, but if you'll notice, I've decided this is going to be the back of our spider. So that's where I'm going to be focusing the design. So while that crossover right there is happening, I'm wrapping around and then crossing over here on the top as well. And then I wrap around the bottom, cross over, keeping those wires side by side. I like to land these wires above the wires that are secured to the bead on this first wrap. And so again, wrapping around right on top like that, bypassing we can move his little legs a bit. There we go. Make a little bit more room for ourselves to function. And so just wrapping that around. And then let's do the next wrap right there. Coming around. And then I like to come underneath the wires we had already wrapped there on the side. And so here we've wrapped and our wire is exiting. It's gone around, below, and over. And so I'm going to take this and I'm going to cross it between the frontmost leg and the little parapet part. And I am going to bring it to the bottom right here. I'm going to press with my fingers and bend up so it makes a little bit of a yoke on his belly. And that's going to land it right there as we cross back over between the other side, the front leg and the parapet. And then just coming in a crisscross on the other side of that connection wire. And now we're going to travel up on the belly. Now, and you'll notice we do have quite a bit of extra wire, but I didn't know if you'd want to do, more with the bail or more with the herringbone. It's always nice to have a good bit left over as opposed to not enough. And the scrap wire is fantastic for doing like wire wrapped bead links if you wanted to make a necklace or a bracelet to go with this, or what have you. So I'm going to lift those wires up just a bit and I'm going to split them. And I'm going to take our rightmost wire first, and I am just threading. Now this one I am going to risk a zoom. So that's the little yoke on his belly, and this is our wire just coming right through there. And now pressing with my thumb while I pull down. It's just lassoed around that yoke, nowhere else, and I'm going to tug quite firmly. And then I bring that wire up towards the front. This one on the left, I'm going to take and I'm going to thread right through there, just through that yoke. I'm not hooking, this is how it looks from the front. I'm not hooking through any other wires than just those two that looped under the face. And then we're going to pull that down and pull up. And that's how that's sitting. And now I'm just going to come in here with my wire snips, and I'm going to snip just a little forward from where that wire crosses around. Like, I don't want to snip directly up next to it because I'm going to be taking my pliers. There we go. I'm going to be taking my pliers and I'm going to kind of smush it around and tuck that loose end of wire, whoop, up and in, if you see how we did that. And so I'm going to do that again here on this side. So just taking the wire and kind of just smushing on around. And that way it tucks the wire up into that mouth area and there's no little bits to snag the skin or clothing. So now that we've done that, I think I can risk being zoomed in, I mean a little, and then I spend the rest of the video out of frame. So that usually goes. And so now I'm going to take, we repositioned our legs. I'm going to grab here, and I like to twist into the center line. So I'm just grabbing the tip of our wire and going twist, twist, and then grabbing the other side and twisting in, twist, twist. Let's do twist. Yeah, I like a third twist on each one. And now we can do that same thing here on these legs, but I'm just going to hold it and twist this way. You can do whichever is easier for you. So, but I like to start with his back towards me, and then I twist. Whichever way I do it, I just like to try to be consistent. It's not a big deal. And I try to get the twists to match, but again, not the biggest deal. I do it about 6 or 7 twists. You could do however many or few as you like. You could do this with, if you had a bead that could accommodate it, you could do this with an 18 or 16 gauge as well. And those ones I think look beautiful. Those heavier gauges look amazing with very few twists. And so I'm just grabbing, and so there we have our little spider shape. And then I'm going to take this and I am going to grip and curl the little parapetties in, just like that. And then I like to bend the legs up. I'm using my fingernail there to control the bend on the back, but you could also come in and use your flat nose pliers to just bend the legs up. That way, I always think he looks like he's fallen. But, and now you could bend your legs whichever way you like, but I like to come about a plier width out, and then I'm going to bend forward, and then I'm going to bend forward for those front 2 legs. And you could look up different reference images and stuff if you like. I know there's a lot of folks who do not care for spiders, but I mean, just a wire spider. Bending those ones. And I like to make the legs in a little bit of an arch, so the bend isn't just a straight line. So this one, these 2 center side legs will be more or less the same length, but kind of bent in a V to each other. And then bend, and then these 2, he looks like he's doing some sort of dance. Hey, you can really dance. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, you can really dance. I'm sorry. But bend them towards the back. And then bend them towards the back. And that is how we make a herringbone butt spider. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me during this video. If you have any questions or anything, please leave them down below. And I will see y'all in our next video. So again, anything you know, anything will be down in the video description as far as like the website and social media stuff and different things like that. But we do new tutorials every Thursday. We do new shop updates every Monday, and we do live streams here on Tuesday every Friday. And we stream over on Kick from noon to 6 every Tuesday and Wednesday, doing like sculpting or jewelry or whatever we needs done that week. And every Saturday, we do lampwork glass from noon to 6 over on Kick as well. So until next time, you guys, happy crafting. Mwah! Bye.